Welcome to Must Have Coffee, Finding the Ground Within. And we are not just talking about coffee. This is Sonia Ald.
And I am Alanna Marie. This is our friendly podcast designed to awake, energize, and uplift your everyday life.
All right. So here we go. Our first recording right here. So I'm very, very excited about this. Actually coming into this audio podcast or whatever this format is going to be for both of us. So bear with us, I guess is what my first ask. I am Sonia Ald, and I am from Alaska, here in Wasilla, Alaska, um, and Alanna and I have come together to kind of figure this out on our own. We are doing this on the fly, and today, really, our topic is to introduce ourselves and kind of figure out what practices we do during this time of uncertainties that we can share for you guys. We are moms up here in Alaska. And I am a mom of two. I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old boy, or a male and a female, boy and a girl. And I am a yoga teacher here in Alaska, Wasilla, Alaska. I have a yoga studio that I own. But when Alanna and I came and talk about this of having a podcast, we are at the same place where we want to share something of value to people during this time, and that's why we are here. Along the many episodes, hopefully in the future that we will do, you will get to know us better. Uh, and so go ahead, Alanna. I've been talking
Sure. Well, welcome to Must Have Coffee, Finding the Ground Within.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, it really is, especially right now. Okay, so my name is Alanna Marie. Well, that's my business. My first name is Alanna Harris. I have been in the wellness industry for the last 4 years. Recently, I have made a big transition in my business where I coach and I work with youth, and I have created programs with our youth up here in Palmer, as well as in Alaska, teaching empowerment, self-awareness techniques. I also have worked with adults, teaching intuition. Again, most of it has to do with self-awareness. She's like Sonia, I'm a mother of 2 boys. I have a 11 and 9-year-old. And what I can tell you right now is that what is happening globally is affecting everyone on some level or another. Either in some areas where people are recovering from sickness, while we are in the midst of going through a very huge process. This was an inspiration during that time. Both Sonia and I have been friends for a long time, but we both have been involved in the wellness community. And this is how it all started. I mean, this is the next step forward. So my goal for this talk is, for one, to be with a friend. Because right now we need that more than ever. Not other.
Isn't that how we started? Just to connect. Yes. And then we started talking about, okay, how can we, because we talk about all these practices we do, and then it's like, well, it would be cool to share it with other people. And so we are just documenting our talk. This will be an unfiltered talk. So this is not going to be pretty, clean, and all that stuff. Our goal is to come to you as authentic as we can, wherever we are. You may see cameos of kids and husband and dogs in the background. You may see us not put together for the most part, because I don't put myself together that much anyway, especially that now I am working from home.
Yeah.
So we have many, many hats that we wear. Same thing as everyone else around, like you guys, that you are mom, we are an employee, a business owner, and a
Mhm.
wife and a friend.
Yeah.
So we just want to come to you guys as authentic as we can, because we are just similar to you, um, dealing with similar struggles, dealing with similar challenges and opportunities. And we just want to have a place like what we're doing now as a coffee conversational talk, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. So on that, Sonia, how have you been doing? Because
oh
you wear many hats. Like you don't just own a yoga studio where you have employees under you and you facilitate, but you also are an accountant,
yeah,
correct?
actually I work full time, and I own a yoga studio. We are still doing online classes, in the midst of everything, just to stay connected with the community, and as well as doing my full-time job. I'm working remotely. um, it's a lot to juggle, but I'm not complaining because everybody is probably um, in the same place like I am. I am doing okay compared to I have to really figure out all these technology pieces kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? That's really my main struggle. Um, Outside not being in contact with human, I am very an introverted person, but still, even if you are introverted person, you still need that human connection, right? So but I'm doing fabulous. I am keeping up with my practices, and maybe at the end of this podcast, we can share that practices for people, huh? How about you,
Yeah.
Alanna?
Well, I'm actually now like on week 4, and I'm feeling it as of this week. I started feeling it a little bit more, like you said, being naturally more introverted. You would think it is like Disneyland to be able to be inside your head. And, but now, I think it is so important to be able to have that connection,
Oh,
outside of your house, because, for one, I have now gone remote, which I've been wanting to do. So this extra push has been helpful. I've started filming for my students. Um, I'm creating a program, yet I'm also helping, like I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader, and I am now having to learn how they learn and the math process, which is a very new process.
yeah.
And then also, on top of that, I own real estate property. I own 3 fourplexes, and up here in Alaska, we are having what's called breakup. So all of the snow is melting, and having to manage the property physically outside. I've had to do a lot. We've had flooding this last week where I had to hand dig trenches because of like those points, and then also making sure to manage my tenants into
Yeah.
like helping create that safety. It's definitely something where having a practice is really important.
Yeah.
It's more than just staying grounded, but it's being like everyone is in a practice, even if you don't think you're in a practice, because a practice creates a mindset, an emotional state of being, and also gives you that clarity. And I have been practicing for a long time, but this last week I wanted to see what it felt like if I didn't do my practice. And this week, just because I wanted to see how that felt.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, I'm only on day 5 of it, and I'm feeling it. And I really think it's important to be able to create a clear practice, because, when we say practice, it can sound a little like untangible, or something where we like creating something to be able to give you a good peace of mind,
Yeah.
and also
So
like emotional.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it is gosh, yeah, well, let's talk about practice because I you know, let's explain what practice is. We
Yeah.
I don't know if a whole lot of people outside wellness, I would assume that they know what practice is, but let's just make it like clear what we call practice, right?
Mhm.
It's our daily habits, daily rituals we do to keep ourselves connected to something, to keep ourselves in the present moment, and to keep and do our self-care. So it's more than just self-care, but it's more of a connection that turns into a self-care, right? Do you
Yes.
have any other definition of what practice is?
Sure. You said it pretty spot on of what I would say. Practice makes perfect. Everyone has a routine, regardless of if you have a clarity of what it is or not. Um, majority of people have a certain type of wellness when it comes down to their emotional state of being, their mental, being able to get through the days. All of those things are going to um, create, like, it's all defined by your practice, your routine. So when I say practice, I mean making a choice of like how you're going to how you're going to care for yourself so you can have a better state of wellness and better state of mental clarity, especially right now. I think so.
And it's really nothing religious about it, or
No.
you can make it spiritual too,
Yeah.
right? So practices have different kinds, and you can definitely do your own practice,
Hmm.
so that you can start connecting to whatever you feel like that
Hmm.
is larger than you, or
Yeah.
beyond what the bigger, and what do you call this? And like in AA, they say something about the higher power, right?
Yes. Yes.
So whatever that means for you, it could be Jesus for Christianity, Buddha for Buddhism, and all that stuff, or
Hmm.
the universe if you are in that space. If you don't believe on those religious avatars, right? So
Yeah.
it could be anything. So it could be anything that makes you feel connected to something larger than you. And practice comes in many forms also, so we
Mhm.
can talk about that.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'd say even more so right now, since we are at this place of isolation, creating a practice is something that is really important. Because Sonia, as you talked about, there's different levels of practice. I think creating a practice to be able to bring clarity to all levels. So there are, what I teach in self-awareness is that there's 4 levels of self-awareness. The first is the physical, then you have the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. So how I define those is physical has to do with your needs, taking care of your physical body. It Awareness isn't by thought process, it's more by feelings. Like, if you're hungry, what are you going to do? You're going to eat, right? The emotional has to do with um, the temporary feelings of how to be able to connect. Mental is your thought processes. So all of these work together to, if you have a clear idea of how your physical needs are being met, your emotional, you're allowing yourself to feel, your mental clarity will come in. And then my definition that I personally use for spiritually is being able to use all of that and connect. So, but I think that finding a good way to be able to fulfill those needs doesn't have to take long.
Mhm.
but can have a good balance,
Yeah, it's
especially now.
definitely a full spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Not just physical self-care where you know, do all this physical stuff. It's
Yeah.
emotional, it's mental,
Yeah.
and all that spiritual stuff, because that really creates that big circle of the full spectrum of self-care.
Yes.
So, and why do we want to even do this, right? And we want to be able to be the better mom,
Yeah.
better employee, be better friend, better wife,
Hmm. Hmm.
be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we are not taking care of ourselves, and probably a lot of people know this, if we're not taking care of ourselves, then we are not good to anyone. We can pretend, right, that we are okay, but that only gets to a certain point, right?
Hmm.
And so that practice is what you do over and over again, that gets you into that space of of getting, of putting yourself, the best version of yourself out there, right? So
Yeah.
it's like filling your energy tank, filling your own self, filling up your cup, so to
Yes.
speak, filling up your
Yeah.
coffee cup.
Yeah, I could use a lot more of that. That is, and then one of the things that I'd like to point out is that self-care also doesn't mean that you have to like eat the most beautiful things. Sometimes to have self-care is like having a cup of coffee or having something to just be able to like relax a little bit more,
Yeah.
because I mean, that's really important, especially right now.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't have to be very grand. I mean,
no,
self-care comes in many different ways, and
yeah,
it's very, very personal to a person, right?
yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
makes you feel good to me is self-care.
Mhm.
Not that you're being indulgent on something, but it really like in this on the soul level, what makes you feel good is self-care.
Yeah,
Maybe sometimes that means watching 2 or 3 Netflix movie, right? And then
yeah,
just to give yourself a break. And then from there, once you get into that space of that vibrational and frequency that you're feeling good, then you can move on to something else that will be, maybe you'll have clarity that you're talking about, Alana.
yeah, yeah. Because
So there's
clarity
many
is key.
different levels. There's many different levels. We may not start at the same level. All of us may not start at the same level because we have not done that consistent practice yet.
Mhm.
But um, but then we can always start somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
keeping it simple is really important. So, like for people who have not had a clear practice, I think it's probably where we should probably start with. It's like just keeping. You don't have to try to care all levels right now, but just start somewhere and make it a conscious choice for 1 week to create something that you're going to do every single day that's going to make you feel better. You know, for example, mine, when I wake up in the morning, I do some breath work where I do it's considered like a 1-to-1 ratio where I breathe in 4 seconds, I hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold. And I do that 10 times and I can feel my heartbeat and I can kind of just allow that moment, and then I just start slowly taking that in. And that I didn't realize how important that is, and I've been doing that for years. So I wanted to actually test what would happen if I didn't do that this week.
Yeah.
And by Thursday, oh man, like that is so important because I started getting more short with my children,
Uh-huh.
and I had my little tantrum, of like just going off and blowing up. And, um, I looked at that and after it was like, it was amazing to think about how important just breath work is,
Yeah.
because that's what I took out was that breath work, and that's what happened. And so this morning I woke up and I did my breath work because I already had my 4 days of that. And I also coach volleyball, and right before this podcast I just got a message saying, hey, volleyball might be canceled for the season. And there's a big possibility with that, and how to be able to assist, and how like our summer programs might be shut down. And I'm in this chat with the other coaches, and luckily I'm so glad I did my breath work today,
Yeah.
because I was just like, just being able to take that time to be able, instead of to react, to be able to just reflect and see how I can move forward with that.
I
And
really
so,
like your example, the simple example that you just gave to people, because I'm going back to depending on how many years of practice you've done, is how elaborate is, if that's the right word, or how extensive your practice is, right?
mhm,
Because for most of us, we probably do not have time to have 2 or 3 hours of practice just to take care of yourself, because there's so many demands in life. And what I would like to live you with is that for the simple practice that I can recommend for you guys is that before you even come out of bed, think of 3 things you are grateful for, and that will set that vibrational quality of your day. um, that you can have a good day by thinking about something you're grateful for. Instantly you cannot feel anger, or you cannot feel bad emotions when you are grateful, right? even
yeah,
if that even before you start turning on your phone and putting your feet on the ground, start with something you're grateful for. Think about 3 things. Again, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be, I'm grateful for my nice sheets, or something, my the sheets, my pillow, anything that you can be grateful for. Mention it. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Wherever you are, there's always something to be grateful for. So that's the second thing that to take away, right? Breathing and be
mhm.
thankful for
Yeah, that's a
something.
huge, those are huge, like right there, that is fixing and getting yourself into a really good practice.
Yeah,
Try it for a week, and I can tell you, without doing it, and I've been doing this for years,
yeah,
and with just a matter of days, I started noticing that without doing that, I started noticing that I was defining myself by the outside world versus, and so I wasn't helpful to anybody, right? So like, keeping it simple right now is the best way.
yeah,
Like, thankfulness is so important,
yeah. And start noticing too the shifts, right? It's so easy for us to just go day by day, and even if we do those simple practices, that we get into the motion of day-to-day life. When we do not stop and finding out what shifts, we really don't see the progress, and you say, oh, it doesn't work, kind of thing. So start noticing, start pausing, and really figuring that out. And maybe in the middle of your day, breathe. Middle of your day, find something to be grateful for. And then as you practice, that's why it's called practice, right? It's not perfect. You keep practicing, and it doesn't stop. It's your whole entire life. Our whole entire life is a practice. But that doesn't mean that everything will change automatically. Life shit happens, things happens, right?
Yeah.
And maybe we have a better reaction, maybe we have a better attitude about something because of your practice. But give it a try. We are not perfect at all. I mean, my day is still going, sometimes sour, but then I noticed that my reaction to it is a little bit better than when I'm not practicing, like Alanna said, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, and the other advice I would give is, like, first we've talked about like the breathing, like trying that 4 count. Try that. Do it 10 times. You'll notice like your body relaxing, putting that thankfulness. The other one is like, I really think the last advice that I could leave um is just being kind to yourself. Like, say you didn't make a practice, Are you the type of person to give yourself a hard time over something? Like, just be as gentle as you can with yourself right now. And be kind to yourself, because right now the world needs a lot of kindness and support, and we need a lot more support and kindness. And so support has to do with being able to, how you support is so important. Actually, it's how you support. Are you supporting with kindness, or are you supporting with like tension and everything
We
else?
can
So
really do to talk more about this, because this is a big topic. To me, it
yeah,
is a big topic, because
yeah,
as I was doing my practice over the years, I know that this is the hardest one for me, is being
mhm,
kind to myself. And a lot of us struggle with this, right?
yeah,
So this, we can expand more on this
yep,
in our later episodes.
mhm,
But yeah, it's really for now, think about being kind to yourself, and
yeah,
make a list of what that means for
yeah,
you. We cannot expand it right now on this
yeah.
podcast, but we will expand it more at a later date, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, exactly. Actually, there's one quick thing that you can do is
Okay.
notice, like, write down during your week, like one thing during the week that you notice that you took in, that you were thinking a negative thought about yourself. And then just look at the writing of it, and then figure out a way of how can I be kinder to myself at this point. Like, and then that right there is that effort of how can I be kinder, how can I feel kinder to myself, is already putting that into motion.
Oh,
So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Just by the fact that you're observing, that
mm-hmm,
takes you into a neutral space, right?
yeah,
And takes you in that self-awareness phase,
yeah,
that you can better react next time. A lot of what we're talking about is very intuitive for a lot of people, and you probably come in and out into this space anyways, that
mm-hmm,
it's just refining it and refining it and refining it. And where Alanna and I comes is that we can share our practices, because we have been practicing for many years.
mm-hmm,
Again, it's practice. We are not perfect, but we really, really would love to share you our practices as a wellness professional, and as healers and energy workers, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. So do you know what our next topic is? So I mean, we are very unstructured right now. So our next topic is about what? Do you have the thing with you?
I do not.
Okay, so
But our
we
next
are
topic,
doing this on the
our next,
fly.
yeah, our next topic will be something, and this is actually perfect because normally I would beat myself up that I didn't do it. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say right now, I'm going to just take a breath, and we're going to see you next time. Most importantly, why don't you email us back, if you have questions about practices or need ideas. Our email is musthavecoffeewithus@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So
And again,
yeah,
my
so
name is
yeah,
Sonia Ald, and
I'm Alanna Harris.
yeah.
Yeah, so until next time, stay grounded and absolutely you. Have a good day, a good morning as well, and a
Good
good
night.
night.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're still refining everything. So hopefully you guys join us next time, and we will see you next time.
All right.
All
Have a good
right.
day. Bye. To connect, email us at musthavecoffeewithus@gmail.com, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Must Have Coffee With Us.